So, hello there.
Hello there.
And thank you for offering to help with the series. As I told you, this series is called What Men Really Want, Honest Conversations with Quality Men Such as Yourself.
Of course.
Yes.
Thank you for inviting me. It's nice to be here.
With pleasure. So, the questions I'm going to ask you really have to do around how you choose a woman, and also how you choose to commit to a woman. You've been married once or twice? I don't remember.
I've been married twice.
Been married twice. Okay.
I checked before I came here. Actually.
That's good. It's good to check. So you're not no third time in the looms yet that
Who
we
knows?
should have. Yeah.
Who knows, Julie?
Okay, so that's actually a question. So even though you've been married twice, you would consider a third time.
I would like that very, very much.
Okay, if it's the right person.
Yeah, I've had 2 marriages, and the majority of that time I can look back on a number of very happy and very satisfying memories. But clearly they were relationships that did not work.
Yeah.
So the selection was inappropriate. As I move forward to my dotage, which approaches with frightening speed, yeah, I would very much like a partner, as I think most people would, to go forward in life with. It's very much an aspiration I have, and I think most people would say that, yes.
And this is something actually I didn't inquire about very much in the other videos, but it's something I'm actually very interested in, because you've been married twice, and you did mention that you don't want to have kids. And I do see that there is a little bit of a correlation between men who want to have kids and want to get married. So that a lot of men see marriage as like a means of starting a family. And you, which is something that I'm very, very impressed with, you have been married. So even though they didn't work out, you still seek that ideal partner, even though you don't want kids.
I think that's right. I suppose 2 considerations. One, I like weddings.
Okay, that's a great thing.
And secondly, there is the prospect of making what I still regard as an extremely serious commitment,
Okay.
i.e. a commitment for life, with the right partner.
Okay. So for you, marriage then doesn't signify that making the family, it's more of a partnership.
It is a commitment to the person with whom you want to spend your life. Very much so, yes.
Which does bring me to something that I do bring about in the work I do with the women, which is when you filter through the men that you want to meet, you want to know that he's on the same page as you are with where he wants to be with commitment. So how could a woman approach that question with a man? You know, is he on that page of having a committed relationship without it seeming too pushy of a question?
Yeah, I think the secret in dating, and the secret very often in life, is really about timing. And I think really it's similar for men as it is for women. Top of the checklist, and possibly more prominent for men, is physical attraction.
Okay, I'm glad you said that.
Are you physically attracted?
So that's the
to that
first thing
man?
you look
Are you
for.
physically attracted to that woman? Secondly, is it fun? Is it rewarding? Is it enjoyable? Do you have similar interests? Actually, the chemistry, and the chemistry is an absolute mystery. Does that stuff work? And then I think maybe date 2, maybe date 3. Yeah, there is a serious conversation which says
We're on the
things
same
are going
page.
well. We laugh. We have similar interests. This is going well. What do you want from your life?
Okay, so that is an appropriate conversation to have somewhere around date 2 or 3.
For me,
Okay,
I think so.
and and I consider you in that category of men, which I also know. I do believe, having interviewed quite a lot of men, having met quite a lot of men, that there are some men who are more interested in commitment than others.
Sure.
Just as there are
Yes.
some men who are
Yes.
more likely to cheat than others.
Yes.
And as women, the main thing is we can't be blind to the kind of man we have in front of us. We need to just take him at face value. And we won't change the man anymore. He has to change because he wants to, not because of anything we do.
Yeah, and sorry, that's an interesting point. Is can we change our partners? And that's a really good question, and it's something that I have learned to my cost. Is that's actually a very unlikely prospect. The man that is in front of you is likely to be the man that you have long term. And you raise an interesting point, because from a sort of an evolutionary and from a physiological perspective, men are heavily driven towards physical attraction. The purpose of men being around is to promulgate and propagate the species. So I suppose there's two messages there that I would want to put across, to a woman who was a client of yours. And I guess the first would be physical attraction is a primary driver for a man.
Hence,
So if you have a date, if it's after work, if you started work at 7:30 in the morning, you should still look great if this is the man that you want to spend quality time with.
Or even.
And I think the second thing, and it may sound an odd comment, is actually changing your appearance, surprising a man, keeping him enticed in a way, is actually something that men find really very attractive.
Okay.
And very exciting. I remember I had a girlfriend who used to wear contact lenses, and sometimes she would change the colour of her eyes.
Huh.
Now, from a physiological perspective, and for good reasons, actually that's the sort of thing that men will find very, very attractive. So speak to your man about the kind of appearance that he wants you to have. And if you can surprise him, if you can keep changing things, great.
Okay, I want to break that down further, because physical attraction is something, not surprisingly, that has come up in basically every single interview I've done, and I've done quite a few now. Men are always saying physical attraction is the first thing that they notice.
Yes.
With physical attraction, so I'm going to pick up a little bit later on about your changing the appearance, because that's quite fascinating to me. But with physical attraction, is there something that has to do with youth? Does that matter at all?
Different men will have different tastes. It's really as simple as that. But I think the overarching consideration is that, as I say, from an evolutionary and from a biological perspective, men are driven to find partners who will provide good offspring and healthy children.
Except you're at this point where you don't want children.
Oh, but the drivers are still remain exactly the same. So they are unchanged.
Can I ask your age?
Let's keep this between ourselves, Judy. I'm 57.
Okay. We won't tell anyone on this video.
No, of course not.
And so what about the women that you look for? What are the age ranges that you usually tend to be interested in?
As I say, tastes will vary hugely. I am not driven towards younger women because I find the engagement is awkward.
Okay.
I have a preference for women who are much closer to my own age, 45 and upwards.
Okay.
Look, reassuringly, I find, and I've been divorced for several years now, that actually, there are a lot of women who are fit, capable in the prime of their careers, and who are, tremendous partners for to have in my life. There's no difficulty with that.
With the woman closer to your age?
Yeah, absolutely not.
Is there a weight for you? And I think you had mentioned some of your friends who like slightly heavier women. And you had mentioned some of your friends who like really skinny women.
Cool. And
I think for you it was somewhere in between, am I correct?
I think my classic would be athletic build, yeah.
Athletic build, okay. Yeah. So it's kind of like Cindy Crawford versus Claudia.
Cindy Crawford would be nice, actually. Yes, I'm not sure that's a service you provide.
No, I don't. Cindy's taken. But it's Cindy Crawford like, and maybe slightly bigger, versus the models of today.
For me, yes. I mean, that's the right sort of territory.
Is there, like, if you think about some actress models that are the top peak of your size, what about Marilyn Monroe, for example?
Yeah, I mean, she's not currently available, but yes, I mean, that would be the classic,
Is that
very attractive.
So that's still within the range?
Oh, absolutely.
What's above the range? Just give,
Gosh, so, someone who is overweight.
Okay, so
it's really as simple as that.
Like, obviously overweight, not, slightly.
Yeah, someone who's obviously overweight, sorry. And again, I think that impacts on the nature of the relationship. Right. Speaking for myself, I play tennis 3 times a week. I run regularly. I cycle most places. In terms of having a commonality of interests and activities, being with somebody who's overweight or actually someone who smokes, would be a significant inhibitor to myself, and I can only speak from my experience.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So we know physical attraction is huge. I want to go to the other qualities, which are also very significant. You had 2 marriages that didn't work, and I wonder, 2 questions I really have. One was, what made you marry them? And 2, why do you think they didn't work?
Why did I marry them? That's such a good question.
What made you at the time?
I think at the time I was hugely physically attracted to them, and I suppose I married 2 extremely intelligent and capable women.
So something about the fact that they were capable.
Oh yes.
Were they independent?
Yeah, quite independent.
Strong women.
Strong, tough women.
Were they more the leaders in the relationship?
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Okay.
Yes. And ultimately, those are relationships that did not go long term. I had misjudged the degree to which I required those qualities and underestimated some of the other qualities that I think I'm now looking for in a relationship.
Which are what?
I think tenderness and kindness and nurture.
So those women who were quite strong, they weren't nurturing, tender, or kind.
Not at all.
So that's what they were missing.
Yes.
But there is the possibility that a woman can be strong, independent, strong, successful woman, and have the tenderness and nurturing side to her.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right. And if she's watching, if you can send a postcard to Julia, please, that would be...
Yeah, if you're watching and you'd like to meet
tremendous.
this man. Yeah.
Save me a lot of hassle.
Which actually brings me to some other, research I've been reading and recently, and kind of working with clients as well. That I would like to, I kind of read that we need a balanced relationship, and the relationship balance is within femininity and masculinity. And feminine qualities are things like nurturing, things like but being a taker, but things like serving serving the man in a way, nurturing but being the taker. The man's the giver. Whereas the woman is more like, let's say if there's one person who runs the household, it's more the man. The woman would be more like the second in command, let's say. And then, but it's not necessarily the woman. It could be, the woman can be the masculine energy, and the man could be the more feminine energy. Yes. And feminine doesn't mean that he's a feminine man. No. It just means that he takes, that kind of man usually likes a very strong, successful woman. So when I was thinking about you coming for this interview, I kind of was going to ask you that question. Because it sounds to me like what you want is that strong, successful woman.
Yes, I mean it's a complex area, but I think most professional men will prize physical attraction. There will then be an element of intellectual challenge, intellectual drive. He'll want someone who is knowledgeable, who's cultured, with whom he can interact easily on a range of matters. And then, as you say, there's the nurturing and the caring element of it. Now, these things aren't fixed; they're flexible to a certain extent. But yeah, I've found myself in relationships in the past where I have been the carer and the nurturer. I happen to be a very good cook. I've spent actually the majority of the time I have 2 children with the children that I've brought up, and I'm very proud of that. But ultimately, I think that was a compromise. I think that was an accommodation. I think what I'm looking for is now rather different. It's a matter of a fine balance. But if we think of those 3 things, then we're probably on the right line.
So if we were going to say, if you had to choose between a woman who's, let's say, happy to stay with you at home, she sort of like looks after you, gives you loads of, a lot of nurturing, or the woman who is, and let's say she's not professionally driven, this first woman, less ambitious, more about making sure that you're, sort of like she wants you to lead, or the woman who's more likely to take the lead, who let's say she wants to be respected, but she's happy to then, I don't want to use the word nurture, but kind of like she wants to be kind to you and look after your feelings as well. But let's say she's the more strong, successful female who's out there.
speaking for myself, and I can only speak from my experience and in terms of my preferences. Yeah, I have a preference for women who are strong, who are driven, who are intellectually capable.
So it's not exactly, which sounds to me like that's what you choose.
It's the way I am driven. Yes, that's right. Because of the way that we've been nurtured, and in terms of the way that we're geared up in terms of our own DNA.
So going back to the women changing their physical appearance, I'm very curious about that. Can you explain how a woman can do that? Because there is something in evolution, actually, that a man, many men, and it's a man quality. It doesn't matter if you're a masculine man, feminine man, etc. It's just a masculine quality, and especially men more type alpha male have it even more so. So the more type alpha male he is, the more likely he is to be like this. Need diversity. So that could be why the divorce rate is so high, because now we're actually allowed to divorce. So we sort of go through 7 years or 10 years or whatever it is, and then we get bored of our partners. We need something else. And I've met the amounts of men I've met that fall into that category of like, okay, well now I've had this many years, now I'm looking for something else, and either they find it through an affair, or they find it through leaving their wife, or they find it through their secretary, whatever it is. And I'm wondering, this whole changing appearance, if that's a way to kind of play with that without having to vary the woman.
Okay, well,
how would a woman do that?
Okay, well, let's look at the reasons as to why I believe that is something that we're driven towards. Sorry, classically, for reasons that are physiological and reasons that are evolutionary, women are geared towards securing a partner who is physically capable and attractive, but who is also loyal and nurturing, and who is attached to her in the long term. Okay, women will tend to home in on a single partner who is right for them. Men are different, insofar as they are actually geared up to promulgate and propagate the tribe, ultimately the species, and it's for that reason that men are capable. They have a different orientation. They have a sex drive, which means that they are capable of procreating, making love with a range of different partners. That's what they're geared to do. I think my take on that is, that's what we're presented with. In my experience, most men will not want to be consulted about the detail of how a woman looks day to day. That's really not
consulted. You don't want the woman asking.
Yeah, shall I wear my hair like this? Do you like this? We're not
she
that engaged. She should
just get on with it.
She should get on with it. But my experience and my take on it, and my experience actually says that if a woman can vary her appearance, hey.
Okay.
One day you're blonde, the next day you're a brunette.
Okay, that's a bit harsh for the hair.
Yeah, okay. Well, okay, but the eye colour might change, it might vary, different styles, different approaches.
Okay, let's see.
Most men, I think, will respond positively to that.
So I would love to know how a woman can do that without harshly ruining her hair and dyeing it lots of different colors, or necessarily having to wear contacts that are different colors. Some women, many women don't like contacts. How else can she vary her appearance? Could it go from like one day she's elegant, and wearing, some nice dress. Another day she's just wearing a mini skirt and sneakers.
I think that's...
And the next day she's kind of like skinny jeans, heels, whatever it is. Hair back, hair down, hair whatever.
Yeah, I think... Sorry, I think...
One day casual, one day sophisticated, whatever it is.
Let's do that. Let's try different approaches and see what response you get from your man. I think the bottom line is your man will appreciate having different approaches. Some of them will work.
One day flats, one day heels.
Others may not. Buying great lingerie, buying attractive dresses. These are things that you can engage your partner in. And my belief is that most men will respond well to that because it gives them a variation of approach. It spices things up.
Is there a certain look that a woman should hone in on more than others? Are there certain looks that men find sort of, not attractive? I mean, here's an example. I was speaking to a man recently, and he was like, what's the deal with these women in, combat boots? They're like, what are they thinking? Women in combat, it just doesn't go together. It's so unfeminine. It's so, he was really harping on this. And, I agree. He was pointing to a specific woman with a specific look, which was particularly an unattractive look, though she was a very attractive woman if she had dressed herself nicely. Is there anything like that for you that sort of, you see it and you're kind of like, ugh, that is not the kind of woman I would ever be into?
I have a peculiar abhorrence of Ugg boots.
Okay. You're not the only one with that, funny enough.
Which I find completely abominable. But above and beyond that...
It's funny because Uggs are so popular. Yeah. They're so popular, and it's true. The amount of men I've heard harping on about Uggs. Now, but Uggs are appropriate on a mountain, aren't they? If you're going skiing with somebody...
I don't think so.
No, but if you're going skiing with somebody, you're taking them up to it. They have a very good soul.
When I leave this sofa, I'm going to start a campaign to have them banned from the United Kingdom. I think it's possible.
It's one of the most popular boots. I mean, if I count how many Uggs my kids have.
No, I don't think so.
I guess I'm giving my Uggs to my kids now.
Sorry, joking aside. Try it. Speak to your man, engage. It's a fun thing to do. It's a nice activity. It will show him quite visibly, that you're interested in catering to his requirements and needs and his attraction in terms of the way he finds you physically attractive. You will both learn things from it.
Okay, so what about on the intimate side? Let's go to the intimate side.
I thought you'd never ask.
I will definitely ask. How soon is the right timing for a woman to sleep with a man? How soon is too soon, and how soon is too long to wait, let's say?
Oh, gosh, Julia. I mean, somebody needs to write the rule book, and it's probably you, isn't it?
Here I am.
Gosh. Date 1 is about getting to know somebody. Date 2 is about building a degree of intimacy. I think beyond date 3, date 4, yes, that's when you might tend towards physical intimacy. I think what I've learned is rushing that
is not good.
Is not a good idea. Likewise, leaving it too long, I think, means you're missing out on exploring the fullness of the experience that you can have with somebody. So for me, and sorry, I don't think there are any hard and fast rules, date 3, date 4, date 5, you're probably heading that way.
Okay, what's the longest you would wait?
Oh gosh.
If you liked her.
Yeah, I don't think there are hard and fast rules, but you would wait weeks. You would wait half a dozen dates or so. It depends on the person, and it depends on obviously their belief system, which is a big factor in all of this sort of stuff. But I'm just expressing my personal preferences.
So rushing it is not good.
Rushing it is it's not a good idea. It's
rushing
in my experience, it's a mistake.
Rushing it is anything before date 3 or 4.
Yes.
Okay, so date 3 or 4 is not rushing it, because to me, date 3 or 4 feels like rushing it.
Okay.
You'd wait, a month, 2.
Oh yeah,
2 months.
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah. I mean, these are my personal preferences. Welcome to Hemel Hempstead.
Yeah. 3 months, 6 months. What's too long?
Too long is 3 months.
3 months is too long. Okay. A lot of the rule books written earlier will suggest to women 3 months.
Okay.
3 months.
We need to find those.
I don't know. I don't know anyone. I actually personally don't know anyone that's, unless for religious reasons, that has ever waited 3 months. I think 3 months sounds very long.
Yeah, we need to find those rule books, and we need to burn them together.
Start a fire. So somewhere between, let's say, around 1 month to 2 months.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And then who should make the first move with like the kiss and that kind of stuff?
Oh wow. My reaction to that is it needs to be the man, and the woman's response provides her with the opportunity to show quite visibly, quite physically, what level of response she wishes to give to the man. And I think that's a good way to judge a man is to gauge his reaction to it.
So if the woman goes up to you first when you meet somewhere. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Try me.
So is it a good thing or a bad? Do you like if you're attracted to the woman? So if you find her physically attractive and she approaches you, is that something you like?
It's something I would not find intimidating.
Okay.
I think cultures vary a huge amount. In the kind of society we have in the UK, and I think probably in the United States, that would not be seen as threatening.
It would be fine.
It would be fine.
Okay.
Other cultures would have a different take on that. In some countries it would be quite impossible, I think.
What about the woman kissing the man first?
Yeah, as I say, I think that's fine.
Okay.
As we tend towards equality, I think that makes much more sense. But in other societies, in other cultures, that simply wouldn't be the case.
What about sexuality? What about the woman making that move for the bedroom first, in whatever way that she wants to do it?
Sorry, my mind wandered.
Yeah.
You could probably see that. I think I'm slightly hesitant about that because I think the man wants the satisfaction of. There's the thrill of the chase.
Okay.
And I think on balance, although that would be highly flattering, I think to most men want to kind of set the pace.
When it comes to sex.
I think
not kissing, but sex.
But sex, certainly, yes.
Okay.
They would want to feel that they had initiated it and that the woman had been so won over that she actually conceded, which sounds tremendously sexist, but that's
it's there.
That's what we're dealing with.
Okay, and now going back to varying and making herself a different kind of woman, let's say, does that go into the bedroom as well?
Yes, very definitely.
And how does a woman vary herself in the bedroom?
On a list?
Yeah.
Okay, it's various. What we know is that. The bottom line is that love is a chemical imbalance, isn't it? The red blood cell count goes through the roof. Serotonin levels can be heightened for up to 18 months or 2 years in many cases. So we know it's a physiological imbalance. Human beings will adjust. Normal life will be restored after 2 years, and it's silly to think that sexual sensation, the exhilaration that we feel on being with a new partner, will sustain in the longer term. So it's good advice to anybody in the bedroom in terms of sexuality to vary and to change and to experiment to a certain extent. So that has to do with sexual positions and sexual techniques. For a man particularly, and I can only speak from a man's perspective, again, physical attraction remains a primary driver. So wearing heels, wearing nice lingerie or something like that, I think most men will respond extremely positively to that. Why would they not?
So she varies by varying positions, you said, and what she puts on in the bedroom, things like that.
The peculiarity of men is that very often what they'll be driven towards in the bedroom is less about the naked form than actually what the woman peculiarly is actually wearing, in addition to her naked form.
Okay. Lingerie. Lingerie is a big thing, ladies. Cool. Now I want to get to just a range of questions that clients have. One of them is about men paying. This is a very big, hot issue, actually, because we are, I think men and women are all confused about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So, tell me about that. What's the rule with that, according to your understanding?
Yeah, I think it really can be a tricky area. I've recently developed a real distaste for the messy, fudged English compromise that one gets at the end of a meal.
Which is what?
Which is, should we pay halves, or have you got, what do we get? I
have a huge distaste to it. In reality.
What I know is that in other cultures, particularly in Latin cultures, the man pays, and increasingly that's
Thank you, I'm glad you said that.
I go.
Okay, so you think a man should pay, which I'm a huge proponent of, by the way.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so now I want to ask, because I do have clients that ask, what message do you think it sends when a man doesn't pay? Because I have a personal theory on that.
Okay. I don't believe it sends the message that the man is mean or niggardly or in any way uncharitable.
Would you say it sends a message that he's not particularly interested?
If I were speaking to a man going on a first date or a second date or what have you, I would say, look, just pay, have the courage of your convictions. I think it lends a degree of confusion to the situation when a man actually does not pay. But I wouldn't read too much into it. I think most men who are looking to share are just trying to be enlightened and egalitarian, and it's just one of those messy areas that I think we in this country haven't quite worked out yet.
Okay, because personally I think it sends the message of either he's not particularly interested, or he's not ready to share of himself, or he's stingy. It's one of those three.
Okay, and I think that's a little bit harsh, possibly. I think some men are probably just trying to tread very, very carefully.
And there are confusing signs that women give, which is kind of like they pull out their credit card because they want to be equal, and the man doesn't want to, tread on her toes, etc., etc.
Yeah, and insisting on paying could be regarded as sexist in some way.
I would say insist away. Definitely better to insist on paying and show that you're generous and that you're interested than make the mistake and don't insist on let her pay.
Well, certainly my experience says that if you have a Latin partner, and sorry, that's a huge
Or a
generalization.
Russian one, by the way.
The woman will expect you to accompany them to the restaurant. You'll decide where to sit. You take the menus. You place the order. And you pay at the end of the meal, because they will expect you to steer the ship. I personally respond quite positively to that. Sorry, Latin cultures have different challenges, and I'm not saying that they're in any way perfect, but I have a preference for that kind of approach.
Well, Eastern European women are very similar with that as well, actually. Okay, sounds great. Is there that's been really, really helpful. Is there anything else that you really want to leave women with that you think could be helpful?
Nothing that I can think of, but I think they're all terrific.
All women are terrific. As long as they're physically attractive.
Let's do our best. We all can.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your help.
Jolly good.
Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.